What is up, guys? Talking with Tonka, Season 2, Episode 5. We are on location today. What do you call this part of the city?
This is Fishtown.
Fishtown. We're in Fishtown at LB Cuts. Long-awaited episode.
Welcome, everyone.
With my buddy Louis Bravo. That's L-U-I-S.
Straight government, huh?
Yeah, that's how I do it, right? Government, right out of the box. But he is the owner and operator of LB Cuts. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? How are you?
Chilling. Thanks for...
This is so dope.
Yeah, I know, right? It's different.
Dude, it is. This is going to the club seeing you, and that was decades ago now, but...
Let's not bring that up.
Oh, no.
But like we're all comfy here in some barber chairs. This is a perfect backdrop for you. Because when people see Louis Bravo, they see barber.
Yeah.
So that having it here was a lot better than my house.
Dude, I appreciate you being willing to come out here, man.
Yeah.
You
I mean, I'm here twice a week anyway. So this is my second visit.
Happy to take your money every time.
Yeah. So I guess do you have like customers like guests that you've had long as me?
Yeah, we definitely do. Yeah, I have a couple guys that have been with me 10 to 20 years.
Yeah.
But you're definitely up there.
You're cut my hair since I was like 18.
Yeah. I don't want to admit how long ago that was.
Yeah, I know, me either. But people know that I just turned 40, so they can probably catch the drift on that. Mm-hmm. But it's funny, me and my brother, when you first started cutting our hair, we literally followed you everywhere.
You did.
We went from your mom's basement to the beauty school up on by Woodhaven, what was called Frankel Mills then. Mm-hmm. By Frankel Mills, remember?
Empire Beauty School, yeah.
Yeah, you used to bring me in there to like, oh, dude, I need to get like 2 more scalp treatments. Can you come in and give me a scalp treatment? You remember that?
Dude, I remember that. Yeah, the requirements to graduate.
Yeah, and I broke out from it. You remember?
No, I don't remember the breakout. But
my scalp was like red for like 3 days.
Oh my god, man! I appreciate you.
Yeah, you used to have to bring me in like when the front door girl wasn't there, like to get me a haircut. You remember?
Yup.
He used to like sneak me in. It's funny. Like this podcast, you're gonna see hearing a lot of laughing and a lot of like reminiscing because Louis is like been in my life for a long time, like we said. But
yeah, we've been friends for a long time.
Yeah, and then after Empire, you went to Blades.
I did.
So like me and my brother, you were cutting me and my brother after hours.
I don't even want to count how many places you followed me to.
Dude, it's been a while.
Quickly, it's 1, 2, 3, then Browse.
Yeah.
Then my shop.
Yep.
Then the Loft.
Yep.
Then Breisberg.
When you found about your apartment. Your apartment too.
Yeah.
Yeah, on Cotman Ave. Wasn't it Cotman Ave? Was that the Loft?
The Loft.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the Loft. Yeah.
Yeah, you actually had like my dream apartment then.
Bro, that was still my favorite spot.
Yeah. Like I always want one of those apartments where like you go up a couple little steps and then that's your bedroom and you look over everything.
Dude.
This dude had like the perfect bachelor pad. And then I
love my wife. I love my kids. I'm saying.
I think you met Amanda when you got that apartment.
Yes. And only had it for shortly after that.
Yeah. That apartment was sick, man. And it's funny like watching
people still bring that up.
Oh, dude, we had a pool table while we waited.
Yeah.
Like
how dope was that?
If you had an arcade machine in here, that'd be one thing I would say add.
Dude, it was
like an arcade machine.
The dartboard.
Oh yeah,
you had the hoverboard in there.
Yeah. Yeah, everything. Sorry, I don't know what's going on here. I'm a little froggy today. I don't know. I was like
Mondays.
Well, it's funny. Me and Grizel were out yesterday just doing normal Sunday shopping and stuff like that, and we were going to go out and watch the night game yesterday. If this is going to air a week and a half from now, so the night game I'm referring to is San Fran, Detroit. But
crazy comeback.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was wild. So we were going to go out, and she was like, "Oh, I don't really," because you know how it is when you go out. It's like you're probably going to have a drink. Like, even if it's one. She's like, we've been drinking like 3 days in a row. Let's just not drink tonight. So I was like, yeah, I got a podcast tomorrow. I don't want to be like groggy. And here I am with like a froggy voice.
With no alcohol.
With no alcohol or nothing. And I didn't really drink on Saturday. I played at this spot. I was like, kind of like didn't know what to expect because it's like a local bar, but that has like a 3rd floor with like a dance spot.
Nice.
Literally the most fun I've had DJing in a long time.
Yeah?
Yeah, because the
crowd,
they just eat out of the palm of my hand.
Man.
Whatever I played, they loved. And that's what I like. So this brings me to my first point with you.
So everyone was between the ages of 38 and 43 is what you're saying.
No, everyone was 21 to 30.
Shit. Oh damn!
So they were young and they were fucking with me, which is like, and sometimes I get on the mic, yo, stay with me when I try to do like a weird thing one of these weird transitions that I do,
Right.
and they just fucked with me all night, and it was
I love
like,
that.
it was just non-judgmental, like barely any phones on their fucking foreheads, but this is where I like to, yep, see this camera went off on me already.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta love GoPros. I'm telling you, I had looking at iPads yesterday. It's about to get an upgrade heavy over here.
Let's go.
But this might be my first kind of leap into this. It was like, when do you love cutting hair? Like when do you get do you ever have that moment like, man, this is why I do this?
Yeah, definitely, man. I think it's people's reaction when they look at the haircut. You know, typically as a barber, you're facing the chair and the client are facing away from the mirror. You know, you get your people that like to peek and all that, but
Yeah.
I think it's that feeling of satisfaction or gratification knowing that they got the look that they want, you know?
Right.
And it makes, you know, you get comments that will, you know, be like, oh man, I feel clean. I feel younger. I feel, you know what I mean? Like you know that their appearance just made them way more confident.
Right.
You know? And you know, I love cutting hair anyway. It's an art form that I say these days it found me at 13 years old, but it was it's really that for the client. Like if that could be payment, I would accept that, you know?
Oh wow.
But we all know,
Yeah.
clearly this is a business transaction. We need,
Yeah.
you know, money, currency to eat,
Yeah.
live. So, but no, really it's that satisfaction that someone gets. And then on top of it, of course, is, you know, the reviews, and when people let me know, man, like your attention here, your hospitality here, you know, it makes for a whole experience, you know? People, it's a compliment for me when people come in and they don't mind waiting because of the cup of coffee they can sip on. You know, sometimes it's for people, you know, their escape for an hour, you know? And that's, you know, in this business, there's someone for everyone, but I love the people that come in here because they choose to come in here. You know, they choose to not only do they like the product and the quality behind it, because we do have that, you know, as I like to say, like higher level standard, a higher standard of product.
Yeah.
But the attention, the attention that people get, you know what I mean? Again, with walking in, being said hello to, being offered a bottle of something as simple as a bottle of water.
Oh,
And
dude. And today it's helping.
people love that though, man.
Yeah.
You know, people love that. And it's shocking to me when they tell me like, wow, this is the first place I've ever walked into that offered me like a bottle of water or a cup of coffee. And
Your old barber
if it's
shop,
if it's the right time, now it's a beer, man. The old shop.
Levick Street was like, yo, you came in, you're like, Tonka, pour some shots. Actually, he doesn't call me Tonka. He calls me Eric, but Eric Club.
Eric Club.
Yeah.
Still saved in my phone as Eric Club.
Yeah, yeah.
I refuse to go Eric Vanderslice.
Yeah, no one does. It's either Tonka or Eric in their phones. But it's funny when you say the hospitality thing is like, even when you don't, it's not even your client. You're greeting him the same way as the barber. That barber should be greeting them, but you're the first one they see when they come in the door. You were Kimberly. So it's like your hospitality is not just with your clients, it's with the whole barbershop, which is like, I commend you for that. Because like, you're busy, you're talking, you're communicating with your client, and then you step out of the box just for a second, and you get into that manager role, that owner role, and you're like, hey man, and you somehow know their name, and then you're like, I guess
cheat sometimes.
Yeah. So you're like, do you need a drink? You need a water, coffee, or anything? Magazine?
No, and something as simple as even acknowledging them, like, you know, an eye-to-eye contact and a nod.
Yeah.
People appreciate that.
Oh, dude.
You know,
it goes a long way.
It goes a long way, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, it's not unnatural to be that way. You know, my parents always taught me, like, if someone comes in the house, you know, you greet them, take their jacket. Hey, Eric, would you sit down? Would you like something to drink?
Yeah.
So it's really not anything different than if you were to show up to my house. You know, I'm just not cutting your hair. You know what I mean? Like, Eric, come in. Let me take your coat. Sit down. Would you like to eat, drink? You know what I mean? It's just who we are. And
you were the same way when you were cutting in your mom's basement, because you'd be like, go play video games with Kiko.
PlayStation with Kiko.
Yeah. He was like 5. He's beating me at video games, and I was like, why am I here? I'm getting tortured.
I had you wait nice and easy.
Yeah,
though,
I don't think he was 5. He might have been a little older than 5, but that's how long I've known your family. But that just shows. But so you brought up a point when you were talking there that you started cutting hair when you were 13.
I did. Yeah.
So let's dive into that. Like, what made you pick up a pair of clippers or scissors?
The clippers. Well, my brother one day needed a haircut. I'm about 6 years older than him. So my dad, he always had a set of clippers because he would just do a one clip all around. And at the time, I would be going to get a haircut after school. I was like, 8th grade, 9th grade. So I would just walk to the local barbershop and then get a haircut. But my brother needed it. We were going somewhere, and I said to my mom, I'm like, I'll do it. I don't know what made me say it. I just went downstairs, grabbed my dad's clippers, came back up, and my mom's reaction was, wow, that doesn't look so bad.
Yeah.
And I wish we had cameras. I wish we had pictures of this right now because it's probably such a trash haircut.
Yeah.
But no, since then I've just been fascinated with the craft, man, and I just never really stopped. I, slowed down bits and pieces through high school.
Yeah.
Falling off of it just because of, probably a little self-esteem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I remember one time I didn't think it was a bad haircut, but I cut my homie's hair. He's still a client, by the way, my buddy Christian.
Wow.
I cut his hair, went into school, and everyone was clowning him for the haircut that he got. You know what I mean? And that hurt my self-esteem so bad that I stopped cutting for about 4 or 5 months. And another homie of mine was like, this kid Sean, he's like, Lou, let's get back in the chair. And I was like, man, I don't know, dude. Like that, I was ridiculed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he's like, nah, fuck that, let's go. And I was like, all right, if I do this, I'm gonna get the right clippers and I'm gonna do this the right way. And so I went to Sally's. I bought these Andes T-line trimmers. And I was like, all right, here we go. Because prior to this, I was shaping people up with like a cup of hot water and like a normal razor.
Oh,
you know what
wow.
I mean? So I only had the clipper, not the actual trimmer for shaping up.
I still don't have a good shape up clipper.
I gave you one.
Yeah, you did. Up. Yeah.
But no, man. Since then though, since the Andes T outliner and my homie reintroducing me, I mean, he really was like, yo, come on, I don't care, let's keep trying it. I just never looked back. That was probably like my sophomore year of high school, and then I got a little bit busier through sophomore year, charging $5 a haircut, and then by senior year I think I was at $8. But I was still school, soccer. I was still working at either Dunkin' Donuts or Polo Ralph Lauren. I spent some time there.
Yeah.
But the haircut thing was always like it was side money, but it was more of my passion. You know what I mean? I was starting to like it.
Yeah.
And so after high school for me was okay. Either I had a quick chance to play D3 soccer at Manor College, but after playing with them for the summer, the coach, I remember saying to me, like, Lou, you got to make a decision. What are you going to do? I know you're interested in hair school too. And went home, talked to my mom about it, and I just decided to go for hair school. It just seemed like the right thing to do,
Yeah.
And here we are. And I was at 18 years old,
And how old are you now, Lou?
38.
Yeah, so 20 years.
20 years, man.
That's wild, bro.
Licensed technically at 19, so I got 19 years licensed, but been practicing the craft for over 20 years, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, because I'm 40. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I walked you into your 21st
Yeah. So that's how
haircut.
Yeah. Oh my God, man.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know that 13-year-old story. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a lot of things in this podcast where Adi's like, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that.
Dude.
There's not gonna be much, but I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, we know a lot about each other.
I feel like barbers are kind of like bartenders in a way where you're like the therapist for people.
Been told that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
don't get paid like one, but
yeah, I know, right? So, well, hopefully the tips some kind of reflect how you help them throughout the day. But so this is kind of it amazes me. You remember everything.
Yeah, I try my best,
yeah.
and honestly, this is full transparency. I don't know what about me allows me to remember a specific hairstyle or trend or like specs of someone's description on a haircut, but like I'm good at that. And then because if you ask me what last night's football score was, I have no idea. I just looked it up this morning and I have no idea what the score was, but I know the winner. But when you tell me, yo, Lou, the haircut that we did 10 years ago, I'm like, run me back to the year, and I'm like, all right, cool, we did something like this, right? And it always comes right back to me,
Yeah.
And something else is like I try and associate, I try and just get to know the person. You know what I mean? Like without being intrusive or invasive into their life, not at all. It's just, Eric, the DJ, who also is interested in, and try and relate something, But yeah, man, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the desire to always want to give someone that proper attention.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, man.
It's wild to me because, like, you'll bring up shit that I was like, I just forgot even that even told you. Yeah. It's like, Jesus Christmas, man. I was like, how do you? It's funny. I say Jesus Christmas now. I don't know where I got that. I say it all the time.
It works for you, bro. I don't think you're offending anyone.
No, I don't know why I say that. It's so corny. But it's like so. I sat down with you Friday because I was like, if we're gonna be on camera, and I'm at your barbershop, I'm gonna make sure I got that fresh LB. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it.
It's funny. Now I sit with Mike sometimes because your book is like always booked up. You know me, I book like an idiot. Sometimes I forget.
That's all right, dude.
Yeah, because I used to be in Lewis's book every other Saturday, like same time when like for a long time.
Religious.
Yep. Yeah, and then with life busy and everything, I had to start moving stuff around, and now especially like the Phillies and all that stuff. So like my weekends.
So happy for you with that.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Dude, your accomplishments. Seeing the Eric story unfold and blossom has been really cool.
I appreciate that, man.
Really
You're one of the people that have known me the longest that can actually have seen me progress throughout the year.
And I guess that's why I say it, and it hits close to home because you've always supported me, and I've loved watching you grow too, man.
Yeah, same awesome. Here, man.
And this shit here is the dopest, man.
Yeah, going into the watching you grow. Me and my brother literally followed you from your mom's basement. Well, I don't think my brother was using you in your mom's basement, but I brought my brother to you, I think, when you were at Blades.
Yeah, it wasn't long after you.
No. So I think I started, maybe it might have been before. I'm not really sure because that was such a long time ago. And we had easy haircuts back then. We were doing blowouts. My brother had like a wicked blowout. Now,
dude, I can't tell you what your brotper used to get now. He's had the long hair for so long.
Dude, and he literally looks like Forrest Gump when he came back from running. Like it's so long and gray, but I hope you hear that, Mike.
He loves it though.
Oh, dude, he's running with it.
It looks good on him though.
To be honest, I've grown to like it now.
Yeah,
it's like it's here. When I had long hair, it looked like shit. So
you had to maintain yours a little bit, but otherwise,
he's got a great head of hair. I'm losing it in the front. It's terrible, but
I'm bald as shit. So anybody with long hair, I'm probably gonna be like, yeah, like that.
Oh, because I had something I want to bring up, but let's touch on that real quick. So, being a bald barber. Right? Does that the people are like they give you like a second?
Yeah, some people give a side eye. Like,
do you know how to cut hair? Because you don't have any.
Yeah, well, it's not helping me as far as like my appearance, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean, but no, people do sometimes they associate that like you're a bald barber, and I'm like, yeah. You don't have to have hair in order to cut it. It's not as common anymore, I guess, because people have gotten to know me and they kind of know.
Well, no, how is it common for barbers to be bald? Is there a lot of bald barbers?
Yeah, I think I know of a bunch. You know what I mean? But,
I know more than 10. Do you know more than 5?
More than 5.
Okay, we'll say more than 5.
More than 5.
All right, then that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's tap in back to because out of that I had to get
that's
that.
Funny. This is a topic in our barber industry and social media.
Yeah, because I had to put that in there because I always wondered that the people like look at you like, homie don't got no hair. Is he gonna make me look like that? Like, what if someone comes at like that? You're wearing a hat, right? And they'll be like, "Let me see what your hair looks like." Like, what do you do? I just pick that shit.
Clean, baby, clean.
How do you?
I always joke with the kids though. The funnest part is joking with the kids. Like, they sit in my chair and I go, "So, you want this haircut? We just reset it, restart. You know what I mean? Start a new trend."
Yeah.
Like, no, they always give me that scared look. Like, no.
Oh my God, no, don't do that.
No. Sure, I can just
give me the LB. Give me the LB. Do you use a straight razor?
I do.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
It is. It took me a long time.
You got some veins up there,
bro. It took me a long time.
Yeah, I bet.
Really, dude. Even though I mean, one, self-esteem wise, that bothered my soul when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Now anymore. It is what it is. It's just who I am.
One thing I will say, when I first met Lewis, he had the hair I always dreamed about having.
Oh, I missed that.
He had long hair and it was permed.
It was permed up. I had a little curl going in the back.
Dude.
It was flowing, man.
He had the
it was what you had except curly.
Yeah. He had the polo strap back hat. He had
You're
he
bringing me
had
back right now.
dude, yo, he lived in polo like the strap down, like the strap johns, like
Yep.
all
That's
the time.
when I used to work at the store, and I was getting, I don't even know, about 40% off. I was like, let's go.
I want to say you gave me that hookup once.
I probably did. That's probably why I got fired.
Yeah, it was probably. Yeah, I want to say it was like Franco Mills or some shit that you were working at.
It was at Franklin Mills.
Yeah. Because I used to get those expensive johns with the real.
Oh man,
the real horse.
Dude, I remember the day that they fired me. They called me into the office, and they were like, I had given my cousin hell of a discount, like 40 plus another, I don't even know what, and there was no one looking at me at the time. I was young and dumb. I wouldn't do that today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to think that there's way more integrity behind me and my character, but back then it was just youthful teenage stuff, and got away with it for as long as possible, and
So let's start off the people that that may be listening to this podcast that they're new to your shop, right? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about the Lou Bravo, like where you started. So like we already touched on, you were in your mom's basement, cutting after school, before the club. You know what I mean? Then you went to Empire, and then where was it after Empire? Was it Blades?
It was Blades, yeah. Blades happened to be, right around the corner.
Literally.
Around the corner from school. So that was an easy transition. It was suggested to me by a mutual friend of mine and the owner of that shop. So I went there, and he gave me a chance. I think I lasted there maybe almost 2 years. From there, I went towards, if we're going to be honest on here, like I left that location after wanting, there was another barber, his name was Adam, and he asked me, he's like, Lou, I'm going to go rent out this little basement, 2 chairs. Do you want to do it with me? And I, of course I was like, all right, well, tell me more about it. We talked about the money, and it was like, okay, we could afford it. But it was really like each one of us splitting everything, because there was only 1 chair for him, 1 chair for me. We approached the owner at the time with this, plan, or at least idea of us leaving, and he reminded us that we had a non-compete. So I remember saying to him, like, no, I don't have a non. And he's like, yeah, you do. And Adam reminded me, he's like, remember that day that he asked you to go down and sign something? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, that was like a conduct sheet, like how to like behave in here, and like proper attire to wear, while working. And he's like, yeah, well, a few pages later, there was a non-compete that said I couldn't work within 10 miles of his shop, a 10-mile radius, which, geographically, that's like the whole city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, whoa. And being 19 years old, naive, gullible, just not knowing any better, I had signed a piece of paper saying that. And so the place that we were looking at was only about 2 or maybe 3.25 miles away from his location.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were honest. We sat him down, and we're like, his name was Tony. We're like, Tony, we're gonna leave. We're gonna be doing this. And he's like, remember, I got a non-compete. And I remember saying to him, I'm like, if you give me 5% more, I'll stay. And we were at 50-50. So it was about 1 year and 8 months I was working with him, and I said, give me 5% more and I'll stay, 55%. And he's like, nah. And I was like, all right, peace the fuck out, bro. And we went, and sure as shit, 4 weeks later, we get subpoenaed papers. We had to go to court. I remember court date was, we had left in the month of August. We got subpoenaed papers in September, and December 20th was our court date. And I remember going there with this half-assed lawyer who didn't really help us that much. Took our money, didn't really help us that much. It was on a Monday, December 20th of whatever year, and the judge ordered for 6 miles and not 10. But it still didn't help us, because geographically we were 3.25 miles away. So what I asked our lawyer for at the time was like, can you get them to extend it to January 1st so that we can at least have our Christmas season, busier time of the year, and then January 1st I'd figure it out. And the judge said no to that. So the judge was like, no, as of today. So that was like a big slap to the face, and I was like, man, what do I do now? So I literally left court, went and packed up my stuff, and irked my soul because...
Sorry, this was the one right off of...
Academy.
Right. It was like that corner shop right near that school.
Right near the school.
Yep. I remember I graffitied on the fridge to there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one.
On the fridge in there?
Yeah, I
Oh, I
graffitied
do
LB.
remember you doing that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Little
sorry.
white fridge.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
white John. You kept it to like I want to say like your Common Ave, the place that you had, your house that you had off of Girard. I think you still had it.
No shit.
Yeah. Sorry, I
Damn.
didn't mean to cut you off. I was
No,
going to make
dude,
sure
I
had
remember
those-
you doing that.
the spots right.
It was the top part of the fridge.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Shoo.
Yeah,
Going back.
so now your world's crumbling now. So you're
Yeah.
like, fuck, what do I
I'm
do?
like, oh my God. I tried the travel barber thing, like going to people's, packing my stuff up, going to people's houses for one day. And I was like, no, this ain't for me. So there was a barber interested in me working with him in Mayfair. And Mayfair worked well because it was beyond the 6 mile, radius that I had to be. So that worked out. And I was like, well, this is what I got to do. So I remember starting there, and the owner hadn't even met me yet, but the barber, his name was Nick. He, pretty much like vouched for me. You know what I mean? He gave me the credit. He told the owner like, yo, we want this guy here or whatever. So I went down there, and I remember I started 2 days later. I met the owner, and the owner was like, he's like, hey, I'm Leo. Nice to meet you, whatever. And I remember being right up front with him, like, yeah, what's going on, man? I'm like, look, I'm here temporarily. I am not going to sign a fucking thing. I plan on at some point having my own shop, but while I'm here, you will get my 100% energy. Like you're going to get, full on focus from me. And, he's like, all right. He's like, the one thing, cause remember this is the week of Christmas. So he's like, the one thing I'll ask of you is you can't take any walk-ins until January 1st, just to not take away any money from these guys. And I said, no problem. I have my own clientele. I was young at the time, but I still had my own clientele. So,
this was on Browse.
this was on Browse.
Right.
Yep.
What was the name of that shop?
That one was called Razor.
Okay.
Razor Barbershop. Yep. So that's what got me started there. And my mom brought up to me as I was opening up my first shop, because I landed there around 21 years old, and right around 24, I started the idea of, opening up my own shop.
Yeah.
Honestly, just based off of being able to afford a space, not knowing that I was going to be running a business, right? So my mom reminded me as I was opening up the doors to that place, you were actually technically my very first haircut in there.
I was, yeah.
Remember
Levick Street.
That was a Sunday night, and I said I was going to open up May 18th, which was a Tuesday, and I kept my schedule the same, Tuesday through Saturday. But you needed something for something, and you were my very first haircut, May 16th, Sunday night in there, and
Paint was still drying.
It was still drying, bro. And because I remember wanting to give that to my brother.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. So he was my very first on day of operation.
Yeah.
You were technically, hush,
Sorry,
hush.
Kiko.
Hush, hush. You were my very
That's
first. That's
what you get for
there.
beating me at Madden 17 million times.
Yeah, man. And so I spent 3.5 years there.
At Razor, right? I was going to say, you were there for a minute.
Yeah, I told him I was going to be there for 2, and I spent 3.5.
Adam was the red-haired kid.
He was, yeah.
He was bald. He was bald. I was
barber.
just going to bring that up. He still cuts our friend Matt's kids' hair.
He does. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not far from them.
Yeah, because he's still at Razor, right? Or no?
I don't think his shop is called Razor. No, Adam is. I don't know what the name of that shop is, but I think he works with a few other also well-known barbers. I know Joe Kim is one of them. Super good bar. Like
It's
a lot
good
of
that
good
he's
barbers,
still doing it.
Yeah.
He's still like after that
I think
turmoil and
he jumped in
everything.
the real estate game too. He's doing some stuff. Man.
You still keep in touch with him?
Every so often. I want to
Yeah.
say once a year we talk.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Just a quick phone call.
Yeah,
say
yeah.
hello, and then
Because
wish
I
each other
remember
well.
Razor because you had the walk. You walk in, and who was the guy to the right?
That was Nick.
Nick, right?
No, he went by Fluff.
Fluff, that's
Yep,
right.
he went by Fluff.
I want to say Puff because I know a bigger.
His brother went by Puff.
Yeah, I know. I know a guy named Puff.
That took me forever to get used to.
I wanted to say that for so long, but Adam was in the. Who was in the middle? Was it not Adam?
In the middle, I think there was a couple people, but the one that
I could have swore Adam worked there too.
No, I never worked there. That was Marco, who worked in between us. Was this kid named Marco?
Oh, okay. Maybe I had it wrong. Well, my memory's not as good as I thought.
We
But
made fun of him because he had Yankee shoes.
oh, okay,
So,
probably.
Easy enough.
And then let's move to Levick Street.
Cool.
We're now at Levick Street.
Yeah.
It's another basement barbershop that you turned into a great establishment.
Man, yeah, I didn't know what I had when I had it.
Right.
If I'm being honest. Again, I opened up that place just based on being able to afford a rent And knowing
Can I ask you? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What was rent? When you say rent, like what is rent for a barbershop back in what year was that?
that was 2010, May of 2010.
So what's rent looking like in 2010 for a barbershop?
It wasn't far from the shop that I had left. So we were about a mile away on Frankfurt and Levick. It was the basement of a corner property. So square footage was maybe 600-700, not big at all.
Yeah, it wasn't
But
big.
I was paying 900 for the first year, and I think they jumped me to 1,000.
Yeah, they probably totally saw how busy you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they saw that.
So you walk in this barbershop. There's 3 chairs, right?
There was, yeah.
There's 3
and
chairs.
I created a 4th station. Yep.
Oh, that's right. For
Yeah,
Lizbeth was working there for
when
a
my
little
sister,
bit.
Yep. She came in doing some women's hair there. Man, we tried a lot there, but essentially I had 4 chairs. Eventually I had 4 chairs operating out of there.
Yeah, and so when does so you came in this barbershop, you were there 2010. I was the first haircut. So 2010, you're cutting in this barbershop, and I think, is this where you met Patty Reagan? Small foot Patty.
Smallfoot Patty. Only you call him that.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's my boy. That's Patty was technically my very first employee at that location.
I thought so. Okay, that's why I wanted to bring him up.
I was working there by myself for about 6 months.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it was about 6 months because he started with me. I remember it was a mutual friend of Patty and I's who introduced us. He was the guy's name was Mike. Mike's like, yo, I got this young kid. He's from the Fox Chase Rockledge area. He's cutting hair out of his basement. He's like, Lou, he started off just like you, like working out of the basement.
Yeah.
And I'm like, does he have a license? And he's like, no. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, it was, it's such a thing to have a barber's license just for legal reasons. You know what I mean? So, I believe so many people can cut hair. Do you need a license to cut hair? No. But if you want to do it professionally, yes.
Yeah.
So, give him a chance anyway. I was at my very first shop, May of 2010. Patty came in around November, December that year, and Patty and I worked together for almost 2 years.
Yeah, I thought so.
Almost 2 years, man. And he's now where he is. Needless to say, he's killing it. NFL barber, UFC barber.
Yeah, it's wild.
He was the plug that gave me the opportunity of cutting Travis Kelce a few months ago.
Yeah.
So it's and I, him and I, we had a good relationship until we didn't. It was the first person I had to fire. I didn't really know how to do that.
Yeah.
But things were going on, and he needed a break. So, he took his break, and now, reset, killing it.
How long were you at the Levick Street location?
I was there 7 years.
Wow. Man.
7 years, bro.
Damn, that is wild. I still see the picture back here of you and Kevin Hart out front of that spot.
Yeah, when I ran into him. That was Chicago. I ran into Chicago.
Dude, that looks like the front of your shop.
Does it?
Dude, we should. I'm gonna take a picture and put it on camera, and you guys can tell me if I'm fucked up.
Jumped into that.
It literally looks, because there's a gate involved, because it literally looks like a gate of a house. It looks like it was in the front of your shop, bro.
Yeah. No, it's just somewhere in the middle of Chicago.
I literally thought that was in front of your shop.
Visiting a friend. We're eating at a TGIF, and the whispers of Kevin Hart, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh hell no, I gotta jump in this, dude.
Yeah.
So I'm jumping in like, dude, I know you went to Washington, I went to Northeast, and he's like, I can't talk right now, man. I can't take a picture. I'm trying to tell this guy I can't take a picture, and I'm like, yeah, I don't, snap the picture real quick, and that's what you see. So
I'm an idiot.
Me trying to.
Why did I think
trying to make it
Mayfair Mall, the Mayfair Strip Mall? That was this dumb on my part. But so you're at Levick Street 7 years.
Yes.
I can't believe that,
man.
That place was like a
taught
party.
Me so much.
That was like a party.
Oh my God, was it?
I remember you introduced me to cinnamon tequila. Remember that Gas Monkey cinnamon tequila?
Oh my God,
that was dangerous,
bro. I don't know what we were thinking with that.
No,
I just thinking back, the smell comes back to me, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Well, that's when Fireball was huge.
Oh my God. I don't even want to. I wish we could count how many handles we went through.
Yeah. You'd be like, all right, pour them up. I'm like, yo,
they should be powering this podcast right now.
Yeah, I know.
Spent with Fireball, man.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah, we partied in there, man. We were 20s. We were hanging out. I was, I was living, man. I was living fast.
You were. You were
I was
living.
Yep.
You were living.
You know, I was just cutting hair. I was busy. And, you know, I remember Instagram came around and people were like, man, you know, this thing came out. You should put your pictures on there. And, oh, man.
You were so against it.
I was so against it. I was so egotistical back then.
And now you post like twice a day.
Oh, my God.
And you probably still
I
hate
think back to it, and I'm like, God, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But it is what it is.
To be honest, it's this shows, you know, your workmanship and your friendships with people because you didn't need it.
Really, and I'm thankful for that because, again, I've always been someone to value quality of product and the attention. Whether we posted it about, you know, whether we posted about it or not, it got a lot of people to come in the door. You know, people got word of mouth was huge back then because social media wasn't around so much, but people were loving it. You know what I mean? And I had no problem teaching others around me what I knew, and I still don't. But you know, we just didn't post about it back then. You know, it was just it was a local barbershop that blew up and, you know, started to get a little name for myself. And, you know, then I got to 7 years and the party lifestyle, you know what I mean? It hit me pretty hard, you know, decided to take a break. You know, I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but
no, this is what brings me to my next point is like everybody that has ever, you know, been at a specific part where they needed to take a break from whether it was work or life, I feel like can really relate to this podcast because you literally took a break and you came back hitting on all cylinders. And I think I really want you to talk about that. So at 7 years at LB's, you took a break.
I did. So full transparency, I spent 7 years at my first location, and that, now looking back, it taught me so much, but mainly that I had something good with providing a really quality haircut and a good experience. But what I didn't put into play was that I was the owner and a manager of a business and leading and managing other people. That wasn't a role that I considered or much less, you know, took on. So with that and, you know, being single, going out every weekend, you know, hanging out, you know, it got the best of me. There was a couple of things that happened in my 20s, you know, the loss of my father. You know, I was in a different relationship, but had lost a baby late in the pregnancy. And those things, you know, were traumatizing to me, you know. So
you still wear your dad's necklace too.
Yeah.
And you gave parts of it to
and
your
I
kids.
gave, I turned them into bracelets and gave it to my sons.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I got like chills thinking about it. It's like,
oh man,
it's great. It's great. I never got to meet your dad, but
I miss him every day.
Yeah, I bet.
I really do. But you know, it taught me, like, you know, life is short, and it's ironic to think about because I always said I'm not going to turn into him. I'm not going to turn into him. And little by little, I turned into him by, you know, abusing alcohol. I got into Percocets, opioids, and that cured me for a minute because it took. I remember going through the baby thing, and that happened a few years after my dad passing, and someone had given me a little pill, and they were like, at the end of the haircut, I forget who it was. It doesn't matter. They'd given me this little pill, and I was like, what is this? And they're like, dude, you look super stressed the fuck out. Like, just take this and it's going to relax you, you know? So not right away, but like later in the day, I'd taken it. It was probably like, if I remember, a Friday night. And I remember just a couple weeks after losing the baby, I remember taking this, and it was like, I felt for the first time in a couple weeks that I was able to like exhale, you know? And I was like, wow. God, this is so much pressure now, like falling off me. Now, it wasn't that every day after that I started taking more pills, but yeah, over the course of 5 years, it was, you know, a snowball effect with me, and it got the best of me.
So, you know, I never got into anything like remotely close to that, but I know I have an addictive personality. So it's like, once you feel a certain thing, right? Because you were with me through my gambling problem and stuff. So like, it's kind of like you feel that part of you that's like, oh man, this felt really good. I need to get back there, and this is my fastest way.
Yep.
So like you can't blame yourself for that because you were going through so much stuff, and this little pill kind of made you feel better.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, well, I want to feel better all the time. So you can't really blame yourself for that. But I'm going to let you finish. But like I can only imagine, what you were going through. I mean, like I can't even compare to what you're going through, to be honest. But the loss of a parent, I do have compassion for you with that and feel the same way. So like, I can only imagine how something will literally set your mind free. It's just like,
Yeah,
I would want to take advantage of that too.
it really was. And now, when I see like these documentaries that come out now, and you get the pharmaceutical reps, and like now there's like the pain hustlers and the whatever is all out, and it's just like, wow, it really was a pandemic. Like it was
literally a thing.
It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing. And I fell short.
Yeah.
Personally, but yes, at the time it really was that it just took this, it suppressed this anxiety, this depression, this emotional distraught that I was dealing with, and it got the best of me. It got to the point where I was taking these things not even to feel that relief, but instead just to not shake and not go through withdrawal. So with that, sorry if I get a little emotional talking about this stuff, but, it's something that it was very pivotal in my life.
Yeah, I bet, and like I actually really appreciate you wanting to talk about it, because I'm pretty sure there's people, whether we know them or not, that are listening to this podcast that are struggling with something. Mm-hmm. You're proof. I'm getting chills thinking about what I'm about to say. Is like you're physical proof that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
There is.
There is.
I believe it is in every one of us to change, but it's exactly that. You have to want to change yourself.
Right.
So my story now, I'm not vulnerable to it because, or maybe I am. Maybe I'm saying that wrong. I'm open to telling my story because it is what it is. It's a part of my life. I don't,
you can't run from it.
I can't run from it, right? But because in my opinion, it's a good story. It's a successful story.
Yeah.
I went to rehab after having the shop open for 7 months. What it was it was a day in February. Amanda and I were together for roughly half a year, and I remember her saying to me, she's like, "Lou, if I'm going to be with you, like I really need you to take this shit seriously." And I wasn't the best person back then, so you guys can read between the lines as far as like being in a serious relationship and my lack of commitment. So. I wanted to be committed to her, though. I really, she was someone, and I'm glad because today she is the mother, a beautiful wife, the mother of my 3 kids, and still supports me. Believed in me when
you found a real one.
Yeah, I found a real one, man. I really did, and I'm so thankful. I love her so much. But it was she told me that in the month of October of 2016. That same month, I remember looking at myself in the mirror, going, "You have a problem," and it was like my first time saying it out loud to myself in the mirror. And then it took me another 4 months to say it to her. But it was one day after cutting hair. It was probably like 11 p.m. And I sat her down. It was mid-February 2017. And I remember saying to her, and I'm like, and I got emotional. And it took me about like 5-10 minutes for me to get the courage to even say the words out loud.
Yeah.
But I remember saying to her, I have a problem and I want help. And I remember being in the middle of that whole run and saying to myself, like, one day I'm just not going to take him anymore. One day I'm not going to, but I had no idea that it was going to be rehab that I needed to actually stop me from doing it. I just thought magically one day I was going to, not want them anymore.
You don't know.
Yeah. And no. So I remember saying to her, hey, I need help. I really want this, change. And she said, all right, so, I've known, a few of us have known. What are you going to do about it? And I was like, that's it. I'm shutting the shop down. I'm just going to, whatever. I'm going to call Patty up because, Patty went through his struggles and I see him doing well now. I want to go to the same place that he went to because, I thought to myself, well, if it worked for him, it's going to work for me, That was like the little that I knew about rehab and like, okay, well, if it works, it works. So she's like, cool. What do you want to do? And I'm like, shut it down. I was like, give me 2 weeks to close out my affairs with the location that I had, letting my clients know. And March 6th, 2017, from mid-February that I kind of surrendered, you know. I went down to Pompano Beach, Florida, March 6th, and I came back, I think, May 3rd, May 4th. So that 30-day thing, that was not for me, you know.
Yeah.
Even though that's what I paid for, you know, I didn't have insurance, you know, as barbers, like a lot of us don't have insurance, so I paid for it out of pocket. You know, I got help to do that, and it was I remember like 20 something days in rehab, and the owner was like, "You're not going anywhere in 30 days." He's like, "I don't care if I have to pay for you my damn self." He's like, "You're not leaving until I know you're better." And he wasn't lying. I spent, if I remember correctly, like 58 days technically in rehab. But it wasn't until my 42nd day, and it was that's a day that I'll forever remember, because that's the day that it was my turn for my family to come down, and who came down was my sister and Amanda. And so it was, of course, bittersweet seeing them, because I knew what family coming down meant was we're going to get deep down and dirty with the skeletons, right? So it was day 42. You know, we're in this thing called Big Group. It's every one of the facilities in there, men, women, but the focus group with, you know, said therapist and her group were in the very front of the room in a circle. So I sit down in the circle, and I'm sitting next to Amanda and my sister, and they're like, "No, you're going to come over here and you're going to look at them." Oh. And so I'm like, okay. So they sit me down and I'm across from me. There's probably like 8-10 people in this circle. Behind this circle is, again, everyone in the facility. So I'm looking at Amanda and I'm looking at my sister, and to the right of me is this guy named Gus, who owns the facility. To the right of him is Alexis, the therapist for our group. So that day comes, and she pretty much, the therapist, Alexis, tells my sister and Amanda, like, call him out. Tell him all the things that made you mad. Tell him all the things that he did and said to you guys that. So I'm like, oh shit, shit's about to get real. So anyway, I'm sitting there and I'm listening to them, because, you know, the honesty is, you know, I said some things, I did some things that I'm not proud of. You know, they brought it out. Those were the skeletons. Those were the knots in my belly that kept me, you know, I guess, suppressing that emotion.
With the pills.
Yeah. It kept me, you know, the alcohol, it kept me from living that truth. It kept me from being real, you know. Right. And this place, even though I was there for 40 days prior to this day, I remember them telling me, like, "Lou, you're being honest, but you're not being real. You know, you're not digging deep." And I'm like, I don't know what that means. And it wasn't until that day in front of my family that I experienced what real was, because as they're calling me out on, like, you know, my sister's telling me things about arguments that I got into with my mom, you know, physical altercations with my brother, that I'm not proud of any of this. It's just the truth behind my story. Yeah. Arguments that I got into with Amanda, you know, just a very nasty side of me that I knew deep down wasn't me, but regardless, I had to own it. You know, these were actions that I committed, words that I said, and they were calling me out on it. So Gus, owner of the facility, also a clinical therapist, he sees me, and I guess he sees me getting red, and he sees me like boiling up, right? And he stands behind me, and I'm sitting down just like this, and he gets behind me, and with his right hand, he starts hitting my chest. And I'm like, whew, and he's like, and I'm getting like red and emotional, and like, you know, like, I guess, you know, breathing heavy. And Gus goes, he smacks me again. "Lou, let it out." Boom. "Lou, let it out." And I finally, it was crazy. I start screaming that all the things that I hate myself for, and all the things that I hated myself for were, of course, everything that they had just called me out on. Yeah. The arguments, the things that I did, the things that I had said, the way I had acted. Yeah. And I'm like, I hate myself because of this. I hate myself because of that. I hate that I did that. And something that was pointed out to me was, you know, the fact that I not only did drugs, but I was selling a lot of stuff back then. You know, I was, you know, so I was like in the middle of making money, what I thought was more important, you know. And what one thing that I felt super bad for was all of the families, and regardless of what it was that I was, selling and being a part of, I'm over here thinking that, this person wants it. It's a dollar to be made, no harm, no foul. But in actuality, I then realized, wow, there's a bunch of families out here that were affected by the things that I was doing, and here my family is also like karma's
a real fucking thing.
Karma's a real thing, man, all around. So, they put that on me, and that, I remember thinking, oh my God, I hate myself for anything that I ever gave anybody, because they, who knows what other who knows what other circles are met, who knows who, somebody has to admit that, my name is being, brought up under that negative light. And truly, that's just not who I was. That's not who I am. But again, I did what I did. And so, Gus smacking me in the chest, telling me, Lou, let it out. And I finally screamed all these things. I was screaming for what they told me was 5 minutes about, and not at, I was screaming at everyone, but not at anyone. You know what I mean? It wasn't directed at anyone in particular. It was at me. I was upset with me. And so, what I felt was this big feeling of embarrassment, because I just let out all of the skeletons in my closet. Yeah. And then I also felt relief, because so much weight had to come off my shoulders.
I bet, man.
So much weight had come off my shoulders that I was like, it was such a bitter sweet. If I remember, it was such a bittersweet feeling, because it was wow, I just let people know all of my vulnerabilities. Yes. And yet I feel so good. I feel like
that's why a lot of people struggle with certain things, because they're afraid to be vulnerable. They're afraid to talk. They're afraid to communicate. Yeah. And it's that feeling of being afraid that stuff will set free. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's now I'm I can only imagine what you learned from, Gus and your therapist down there that helped you become the man you are now, because they did a good fucking job.
Yeah. It was right after that session, I look around and the whole room is emotional. Everyone's in tears, wow. Right? Everyone. I couldn't believe that. And they gave us a break right away. And I'm standing around Amanda and my sister at these picnic tables. And I remember people coming up to me that were, of course, in the room, but they had been in rehab now 5 times, 12 times. I remember this one person said to me, Lou, I've been in rehab 17 times and I can't do what you just did. And I didn't know what I did. I just let out this shit feeling, these knots in my belly of emotion that I'm I don't know what I just did either, but I feel good, and I also feel like shit, And what it taught me was that was a part of the 12 steps that they teach you, taking inventory and also seeking forgiveness, So now these days, I like the structure of the 12 steps, and it's not necessarily for just not having a sip of alcohol or taking a drug again. It's kind of a structure to life, now I know these days when I'm going through something, Amanda, a client in my chair, somebody's going to hear about it, because now I know that talking about your issues, talking about things that bother you are what truly sets you free. Realizing that you're not the only one going through quite literally anything. Everyone's going through something, and I'm a big advocate for speaking on it. So being a barber and, being a therapist and all that, I don't mind telling people my story, because it's yo, listen, man, it's okay. Everyone's struggling. Everyone's going through something, but don't, if it's not to me, talk to anyone about it. Maybe a close friend. Sometimes it could be a stranger, and if you have the proper channels, go to a therapist. You don't have to be crazy to talk to a therapist. No.
I can say that I've been in therapy for 2 months now. And I pay for it out of pocket. So I don't have health insurance, so it's not that affordable. It's kind of affordable. It's $250 a month, and you get one session a week. You can pay for additional ones.
The breakdown isn't bad.
And I finally matched up with the first therapist I had wasn't really connected.
You got to find your person.
Yeah, this guy's pretty good. I always apologize, because I was I feel like you didn't talk at all, because I just let it all out like you do, and I feel.
I just took a deep breath because I had to
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I get it, because after I talk to him, I feel better sometimes, and then some days I don't, because I feel like there was more that you need to talk about. So
I'm glad that you have those follow-up sessions because you can always save that, and like you can look forward to the next session knowing you're going to get that sense of relief.
Right. Okay. So you said May 8th, May 20th you came back?
Yeah, about May 3rd, if I remember correctly. On May 3rd of 2017, I came back.
Okay.
And
you felt after that session that you had with your family and everything, you were ready May 3rd to come
That
back.
was a huge, huge moment. Very pivotal in my rehab stint and then just me as a person. Shortly after that, I learned to forgive because I was, along with that moment, there was another moment, and if I can touch on that real quick, I'll tell the story. Yeah, I'll tell the story. Shortly after that, I remember this woman talking to me. She was also a patient in the rehab, but her issue was not to do with any substance. Her issue was to do with mental health. And, a big question down there when you're meeting someone new who's arrived at the facility is, what's your DOC? What's your drug of choice? And she was like, I remember that stopped blinking, by the way.
Oh, did it? Damn it.
I remember her asking me, or asking her and I got to talking, and she was like, no, I'm not here for drugs. And I'm like, And I looked at her sideways, kind of like, so what are you here for? She's like, my husband dropped me off. We were on vacation in Disney, and he's like, you're not right. You need to, and we, this is in South Florida. So he really left the vacation, dropped her off. And I was like, interesting. Like, she's like, I just get super anxious. I get overwhelmed. And I then mistreat my husband. I mistreat my kids. And I don't know how to handle life.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, me looking at her kind of like, you're crazy, And, and she's like, no. She's like, do you know where you are? She asked me that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm in rehab. She's like, yeah, I know you're in rehab. She's like, but what's the name of this place? And I was like, First Step Behavioral Health. And she's like, yeah, behavioral health. She's like, I know some of you are in here because you've abused alcohol, you've abused drugs. She's like, but we're here to work on our behavior. And we have therapists to help us do that. She's like, I think the point is that we come in here and we get the therapy that we need so that we don't physically, verbally abuse others and ourselves. And I was like, oh. And she's like, and her and I got to talking about forgiveness. And, I remember saying to her, like, I'm still mad at my dad for this shit. Like, he was an alcoholic. Like, he left us for weekends on end, and then he passed early. Like, I feel like I didn't have him and I need him, And I'm like, yeah, I'm mad at him, And she said to me, she's like, did you ever think about your dad's side of things? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, well, did you ever think about how he grew up? And maybe he did, even though your story is your story, Lou. She's like, do you ever think about maybe he, even though was an alcoholic, even though he did the things that he did and he acted the way he acted, maybe he did the best he could with how he grew up? And I was like, whoa. That was a moment of like, boom, you know what I mean? Like clarity, holy shit. And I was like, so like his father and how he treated him growing up? And I was like, no. And she's like, maybe your dad did the best that he could. And it wasn't good, but maybe it was the best that he could. She's like, try forgiving him. And I was like, she's like, the way that you want people to forgive you after what you just went through in your pivotal moment, like, maybe try forgiving them. She's like, you do go to church while you're here? And I was like, yeah, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. they took us to church. So, and I was already going, and she's like, forgive him. And then also ask him to forgive you. Mm-hmm. And I got there, and I went to church, and, at church, it was like being saved, So I had already, prior to this, did the whole saving part, but I guess I still had that resentment towards my dad, and being angry at a dead guy. It's just like, like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I went to church, and I forgave him, and I also asked him to forgive me. And you raise your hands up high and you get in front if you want to be saved and you want to forgive and you want to be forgiven, and you stand up front. And of course in church, I remember that energy was really cool, man. It was like you felt the positive energy. You felt the room of electricity. You know what I mean? Like, everyone wanted good for you, And from that day forward, I was never mad at my dad again. I was able to forgive him. I was able to forgive myself. And I feel like I understood life differently,
I'm glad this lady crossed your path.
Man, all things for a reason.
Yeah.
All
Did you
things-
thank her?
I don't even know if I got to the point of being able to thank her, but these are memories that I have that they sit with me often. I remember often, and I tell them every time I tell my story because they're moments that are stamped in my lifetime. You know what I mean? And I'm super thankful that I went through all that. I since have come back, like you said. I've been hitting it hard. I came back with a brand new energy. I said to myself, you know what? With all of those extra BS things that you were doing, like, let's hone in on this barbering thing. You love what you do. Now let's give it your fucking all. You know what I mean? And I came back and was cutting from my apartment. Didn't have a shop. Didn't have nearly the clientele.
I remember when you reached out to me. I'm like, I didn't want to ask where you've been. But I was like, yeah, like, what's up? Like, how you been? You know what I mean?
To some people, I was able to let them know what was going on. To some people, I just left, and there was no phone access down there. I had one phone call a week, and I think they gave us 10 or 15 minutes. So I would split the time with my mom and Amanda, and it was just that 7 minutes a week per, for each of them, and that was it. So some people I was able to tell before, some people saw me after, and I lost a lot of people, and it wasn't. I don't blame anyone. You know what I mean? Like, this is the name of the game. When you're a barber, if you're not around, if you're not convenient for people, it is what it is. You got to start over.
To be honest, I don't even know who was cutting my hair.
I believe I sent you guys. I referred a lot of people to the guys at Men's Club, Justin the Barber and Jake the Barber.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
They were people who I still look up to. They're awesome. They're awesome guys. Great barbers.
Yeah, Jake. It's so random. I met Jake randomly because we have the same. We go to the same like supplement shop and stuff like that, and we just hit it off. We're just cool.
He's cool people.
He's a cool guy.
Yeah,
and he has a similar story to you. I would actually like to get him on as well.
Dude, yeah, he does have a great story.
Yeah. But
and they took care. I'm thankful for them for they're amazing barbers. They're great people, and I wanted to refer someone, my guys, while being away anyway, like to someone people who I knew were good. You know what I mean? Like quality. You know what I mean? So and they took care of it, and I was super thankful.
Yeah.
And I believe some guys even stayed with them. You know what I mean? Again, nothing personal.
Nothing you can do about that.
Nothing you can do about that, But I came back to maybe a couple handful of loyal guys, and I remember cutting back in June of 2017 because I wanted to get right back to work, but I was doing the AA thing, hitting meetings in the morning and at night. I honestly speaking, I can't say that I'm sober today. Not fully sober. I have my social drinks, and I like to say in like a more celebratory, moments. Do I have a beer or something like that? If we're out and about, as a shop, we were just at Topgolf on Saturday. Everyone had a good time. Ate, we drank, we played, and it's settings like that I will, now.
Is that hard for you? To take your first sip of alcohol again?
It was. I had spent, I believe, 12 months, right around 1 year sober, fully sober, and it was a wedding for my sister-in-law now. Amanda's sister at the time was getting married, and I remember that came up, and Amanda was like, you really think if you had like a glass of wine? And I'm like, I kind of want a glass of wine, I don't think it's going to make me, but I talked to my family, which they were not for it at all. You could understand, like my family was like, no, please don't, and I guess I had more belief in myself. Talking to her family about it, they were like, Lou, of course the decision is up to you. We just don't want to see you go down a negative path again. And I remember saying to both sides of my family, is like, guys, all I can tell you is with time, you'll see that, it's not going to do anything. And I really had no idea if it was going to or not, but I'm thankful today that it didn't. I went to that wedding. I think I had 2 glasses of wine that night, and the next day off of 2 glasses of wine, I woke up with a little bit of a headache. It was a whole year since I had any alcohol. And Amanda on the way home asked me, she's like, so do you want like drugs right now? And I was like, no, not at all. No. Fair question. Fair question. But I'm like, no, I don't. And, since then, again, I can't say that I am fully sober, but I like to think that,
You're not going out and getting fucked up.
No.
Like you're just having a couple beers.
Yeah,
like,
lifestyle is way different now.
Yeah, but you can't now. You
Yeah,
can't get up with the
way
ass crack of dawn.
Yeah, my God.
You might drink a beer after a long day of work just to help you go to sleep.
You know? Yeah, really, like, you know, a Friday night thing, you know what I mean? Maybe a Saturday or Sunday. But even when we're family, it's like, you know, I went to the doctor's this morning, the first primary doctor in Jersey that I've been to, and he's like, what do you have? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe like 4 or 5 beers a week, maybe. Like some weeks yes, some weeks no. Like I don't know. You know, it's not I don't really count because it's not a thing to count.
Yeah.
You know?
Sorry, I'm just looking at the camera, making sure they're still recording.
No,
This is
good.
an impactful episode. This is really good.
Nah, that one's still blinking. We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
So yeah, you know, listen, my journey is not for everyone. I don't tell people to copy me. My journey, my story is mine. I don't encourage it if you're, you know, in the middle of battling physically, emotionally, mentally. You know, this is just my story, you know. So, yeah, you know, I went through what I went through, and I'm glad today that, you know, the doctor asked me this morning, he's like, do you ever have cravings for opioids? And I'm like, thankfully, I do not, you know, and I'm so thankful for that. But yeah, I'm glad that I can have a social drink and just enjoy.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's your proof that therapy can work when you want it to work.
It is 100% you working the program.
So that person that's been there 17 times, they just haven't wanted it to work yet.
Exactly. And I think most of all, it's accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Since coming back, a lot of people, including myself at times, it's hard to say I'm sorry. It's really hard to own your shit and go, oh, I fucked up, man.
Yeah, it's the ego.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's ego. It's so easy to get prideful. It's so easy to get egotistical. You know what I mean? And it's, you know, but it's human behavior to do so, but it's also a bigger character of person when you can go, yo, E, man, I'm sorry, bro. Like I said some shit that I shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
I was feeling some type of way, man, and my bad, dude. You know?
Yeah.
But people are, you know, I guess they accept it. You know what I mean? And then if they don't, then they don't. But I mean, you know, you have to be a person that's willing to take accountability. And I think that's the biggest thing, because when you're accountable, you can really take self-inventory. You know, by self-inventory, I just mean like, you know, that conversation, I could have said something a little bit different. That argument I got into with Amanda, I could have been, you know, a little less harsh with my words, or, you know, with said client, you know what I mean? I could have been a little bit, you know, like it's hard, but that's self-inventory when you can really think and go, and then after you know it and you can take it in yourself, now it's like the text or the phone call that goes, yo, man, you know, I'm sorry for acting that way. You know what I mean? I'm just going through some shit right now. I had You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and it's normal stuff. You know what I mean? But some people really won't, one, admit it to themselves, two, reach out and say I'm sorry. And you know, it's hard to do, but it also, I believe, it makes you a bigger person. And these days, I like to think that, you know, I tell, you know, it happens. I'm human, right? Like, you know, I went through what I went through in my 20s. I'm now in my late 30s. You know, I'm a father of 3 for the first time in my life. You know, I am not going to make every right decision. Like, as much as I would like to think that I am, realistically, the human in me is going to, you know, I don't make deliberate wrong decisions. You know what I mean? I try to make every right decision. You know, I try to put my best foot forward every day that I wake up. But that being said, there's no way I'm going to make every right decision. So it's about knowing when you were wrong and being accountable and, you know, saying I'm sorry and moving forward. So in my personal life, in the business world, you know, I believe that's something about me that will always help me grow, is knowing that, like, you know, hey, Kimberly, if, you know, let's do it like this. But if it's wrong, don't worry. I'll fall accountable for that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let you know what I mean? Especially if it's something that I told her to do. If I suggested for her to do it, it'll be me that owns that accountability. I'll take it on the chin, you know? And I feel like that's what makes me a better person. That makes me feel better about myself today, is that I can say I'm sorry, you know?
Boom.
So
that's what's up.
Yeah, man.
You come back, you hit the ground running. You're cutting out of Common Ave lofts.
Yep.
Right? So I'm trying to remember what came after that.
Well,
so you come back from rehab.
You're cutting. Yeah, I'm cutting like 3 hours a day at the time, like still building my clientele. And I'm like, all right, as long as I have money to pay the rent, cool. Amanda was still working at a restaurant, so she moved in while I was away. And I was so thankful for that because, of course, it was like a sense of comfort. But also, I was very serious and very committed to providing a better life for her, myself, and our future. And then that July of 2017, she told me we were pregnant. So it was like, okay, let's go rent a house now because we can't have a baby in this loft. So we moved to the Bridesburg area of Philadelphia.
Right. Okay.
And I rented a house there. I made the front enclosed porch my one chair shop, so I could save money while living where I work. But of course, it was very, very close knit. And by that, I mean, it was like by referral only because I didn't want just anyone in my house. So the good thing was, with now implementing Instagram and showing that stuff off, Patty and I, I remember him telling me so much of like, Lou, your work is fire. Like, you got to put it out there for the world to see. So I started using Instagram and promoting myself that way. And like a lot of referrals to people came in that way. So I spent 4 years in the Bridesburg house, saving up money for what I knew eventually was going to be buying our first home and setting up another shop, because I knew the home was going to be in New Jersey where her parents are retired and were able to help us with the kids. And I knew that I wasn't going to take my business in New Jersey. I was always a Philly guy. So I was like, I'm definitely going to do another barbershop. I'm going to do it with the right way, with the right mindset. So within those 4 years, not only was money saved up, but I really put my head towards, making exercise a normal routine in my life. I like to go running, and these days I like to play pickleball. Those are the things that give me cardio. It's mental, it's physical. I love it, right?
Yeah.
And then I put my head in books. I read books for leadership. I read books for systemizing small business. I read books for just encouragement and just like, ambition. You know what I mean? Like, desire to do better. But I don't want to be the only one. So, who I have around me, the people that I have working around me, it's really important to me that their personality is more important than their quality of work.
Yeah.
Because I want to surround myself with like-minded people, not exactly my personality, just like-minded people that want more out of life, and I want to be able to, lead and manage those people by having open discussions. And like, yes, even though I've been doing it for 20 years and I have my way and I know some of what I do works, it doesn't mean that's the only way. So I like to be open. I like to let them know, like, hey, if you guys have suggestions, ideas, concerns, questions of why I do the things that I do, please let's have an open dialogue. Let's keep that communication transparent so that we can, grow from that. Because just because I've been doing it, it's working, doesn't mean that there's not a more efficient way of, implementing something new and a new strategy and having that work. So, it's huge for me to lead and, help people blossom as barbers, but also it's just, look, let me catch you up with everything that I know, and maybe you'll find flaws in what I know so far and the way I do things. And if we can correct those flaws and make a better operating system, a better operating shop, cool, let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's all be a part of it. So it's not just like being a good barber and, having, a booked out, week. It is, I want people in here to want to come to work, to have the personality, that are hospitable, and, we're here to make this thing work together.
Right.
So
one thing I will say is I'm very thankful for the Bridesburg house, because like I watched Ollie grow up.
You did.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen him since, but it's like,
dude, no, I know.
I mean, but
it's
like,
hard with him in Jersey now.
Yeah, it's and I could say like he knew who I was when I came in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it was like,
he doesn't forget, man. That kid's got a memory.
Yeah, I'm actually intrigued to see if I see him again, he'll remember me. But
I just gotta have a big bash,
Yeah.
I'm thinking for July 4th with Josie. That's her birthday.
Yeah.
Our third baby girl. Her birthday is July 4th, and I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I should, warm weather, put up a big tent. And
and I was mad because I missed your wedding too, because I
know we were sad about that, man.
Yeah, I know. I was trust me.
Busy.
I was like the I literally was like, if you guys can't find, it was the Phillies. So it was like, if you guys can't, nobody else can do it. I'll obviously do it, but I have a wedding to go to that day. And they were just like, yeah, no one else can do it. I was like, oh man, it was a double. I think it was a doubleheader game, and I had to do both games. It was terrible.
You were missed, man. You were missed.
I bet.
We had a very close, very small wedding.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean,
and that's why I was like, damn it. I was like, of course. It always happens to me, to be honest. Like something like pivotal in like one of my friends, like my one buddy AJ had a kid and like had his first birthday, and I couldn't make it because I had to work. Work's always. And that's, I wish I could say no to work, but obviously, just like you, that's how we get
listen,
paid.
I understand, as much as on a personal level we wanted you there, like, I know.
Yeah, because you specifically didn't want me to DJ it.
Yeah, no, we wanted you to attend.
Yeah. I think you guys just wanted to finally see me do some salsa, I think maybe, but.
Yeah. Don't worry, man. We're gonna renew our vows and we're gonna, have a nice big bash.
Yeah, that's what's up, because I haven't even met Mateo yet. So I was like, geez. Well, I kind of, like,
I having too many kids too soon.
I know, man. Back to back, man. Jeez. I'm 40. I'm 2 years older. I don't have any kids yet.
Dude, listen. Either start now or just...
So before we dive into what happened after Bridesburg House, let's talk about, I'm pretty sure there's other barbers out there that are being listening that are close to you, and maybe even, customers that come in that are new parents and they're having a problem balancing, making sure your wife is getting all of her attention and the kids' attention. And you're the busiest barber I know. So, and the busiest work, you're probably just as busy as me and times 10. So it's like, what advice could you give to them that are maybe struggling, like, man, I can't, I feel like there's not enough time in the day?
Oh man, and I've said that, those exact words. I've said that. My words of advice now are the balance between work life and personal life, especially when you have a wife at home and you have kids, because that's the biggest hurdle, is balancing it all, because you want to be super successful in the sense that you're going to take care of your family with your success, and you're going to help others blossom also with the success of the shop. You're going to help them live a life. Like, it makes me feel good that we provide an opportunity for, the people that are here working with me. It makes me happy that they get to live a life. They get to go, drive a car, pay their rent or mortgage, live, and that makes you feel good, right? So you want to help them blossom, but also for your family, of course, like, you get to give your wife and your kids a vacation or two a year, as best of a neighborhood as possible. Christmases are good, so the biggest thing that I so far have taken away from the balance is mentally compartmentalizing your time. And I say that because I've, just 7 months ago, Josie was born. She's, the last of our 3 kids.
Yeah.
It's been really hard balancing my attention with the family at first. And what I'm working on, and it's a constant working on, is when I'm home, being mentally there. Because it's like, when I'm home, I'm thinking so much about the shop and what I got to do and everything else here.
Yeah.
And then when I'm here, I'm thinking so much about the family and like what I got to do at home. And what I realized was that's the hardship. So what I'm trying to do is, while I'm home and I'm with the family, put the phone on Do Not Disturb, no scrolling, like, be there mentally with them. And I fall short of this. Trust me, this is something that I'm working on. I'm not, perfect at it. It's just what I feel is some good advice for anybody who's trying to balance their time between work and personal. Whether you own a business, whether you work for somebody, it doesn't matter. Like, try to be mentally there for them, emotionally there for them. Because if it's a Sunday and you're at home and your kids are with you or your wife's with you and they're having conversations with you, and the words are just in one ear and out the other, you're not being fair to them, right? And vice versa. When you're at work and you're thinking about your family and you're giving your work less than 100%, you're not being fair to them. So right. It's very hard what I'm saying, but I think it's some good advice that like I said, I'm trying to work on. That is mentally, emotionally, and of course physically you're there, but mentally and emotionally being there, you know, separating your attention and being in the moment. You know, Amanda has said that to me so many times. She's like, I wish you were more with us while being with us, you know? And of course that hurts when you, when someone tells you that, but she's not lying. You know what I mean? She's right. And I'm like, and that's the best part of having a supportive person at home, a supportive wife at home, is that they are going to hold you accountable. And you know what I mean? That's another part where you go, fuck, you're right. Like, I do got to work on that. You know what I mean? Because, you know,
that's when you have a good partner.
You really do. And, you know, it's not to become defensive over it, you know, and trust me, I say to her at times, like, babe, I need on, you know, I now, since the baby's been born, Josie's been born, I don't work on Saturdays anymore. So I'm 4 days a week. I'm 3 days off. And, it's just what works best for my family and I. Like, it gives them a little bit more of dad, and it allows me to still have time, because, you know, as a owner operator, I'm not just coming in to cut hair, and, like, you know, there's things that I have to do on days off that I just have to do.
Yeah, you were doing stuff when I got here.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
and you made time for this podcast, which is great. Thank you.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And right before here was Sam's Club, and come in and put things away, and you know, all the things that people don't see. But of course, as owner operator, it's my responsibility. So the third day gave me that extra time off, and it was just one of those, hey, you're sacrificing any client that could only make it on a Saturday. It is what it is. What I do is I push them onto the team. Like, hey, look, I'm not here, but Kimberly, Sasha, they're both here. They're both really good. Yeah. By all means, sit with them. I'm going to tell them exactly what you get, you know, and, you know, I feel like that's what's helped.
Yeah, like I sit with Mike when you're not here.
Yeah, it's just, you know, and I'm big on that, because in the barbershop world, the hair salon world, there's so much drama. There's so much tension between, you know, people that work in the same room, and I'm just not for that. You know what I mean? If I don't want that to be the tension or the drama that people walk in and feel. Like, in here, listen, you know, I don't mind when anyone sits with anyone else, because that's the point. You know, like, if I need to be off for my kids' play, or if I'm taking the family on vacation, like, if you have an important wedding to go to, or an event to go to, I don't want you to be like, oh, well, Lou's not there, I can't get cut. Like, nah, man. If anything, come to these walls, come within this door, and sit with the team who I promote anyway.
I've sat with Kimberly before. I sat with Mike. Like, so it's like, Kimberly helped me out with a couple jams. You know what I mean?
And I love that, because, you know, is it exactly Lou cutting you? No, it's still a good haircut. It's just Kimberly's version of that good haircut.
Right.
It's Mike's version of that good haircut. So, and when we're a team, and I put in the client notes, or I let them know via text, like, hey, you got Eric coming in today at 11. I usually do this, and this with his beard. You know, I feel like you, the client, is going to appreciate that help, that transparency, that teamwork between, you know, people who work together. Like, instead of, you know, you sitting with Mike, and then, you know, I go, oh, fucking Eric, dude, I can't believe you sat with Eric. Like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that's shit. There's so many people in this world. We should not worry about that. And I feel that helps not only the people that are growing around me, but that helps that camaraderie. You know what I mean? Really settle in to a workplace. Like, we are spending more time with each other probably than with our loved ones. So we should probably learn to like and love each other and help each other, instead of trying to, you know what I mean, put each other under the bus, or like hurt each other. Like, no, we're all here to help each other grow.
Right.
And I feel like when people see that, it's like, oh, okay, well, Mike's going to go on vacation, but Mark still needs a haircut for that wedding. So, yo, Mark, no problem. Sit with Lou. That's how it works. You know what I mean?
That's the point.
That's the whole point. Like, you know, I tell people now is, yes, because of course, I love that people still tell me, like, Lou, I will only ever sit with you. I love that. I need that. We all need our loyal clients. We all need that.
I was like that for
18
years.
18 out of 20 years. And it's really like, why not? Especially when you're promoting your people with, you know what I mean, like, that work with you. You know what I mean? And sometimes when we're all booked up and someone calls and they really need a haircut, I'll go, hey man, check out Philly Barber Co. You know what I mean? Check out AOP down the street, because those are friends of mine that, if you really need a haircut, like, dude, I'd rather help you out by sending you to a reputable barbershop than just not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I believe in you know, you just give it out, man.
Yeah.
You know, just
help
just help.
Yeah.
People helping people, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
What's
why,
up?
you know, not to go all crazy, but like, you know, you doing this, you are helping people. And I hope that it only comes back to you.
I'm hoping.
You know what I mean?
We'll see.
know?
You're
already killing it with this.
I'm gonna be honest. I honestly just like doing this. You know what I
This is
mean?
cool.
Yeah, it's just a lot of work, but I honestly just like doing it. So I appreciate the compliment. So let's take 20. It's 4 years in Bridesburg.
Mm-hmm.
You leave Bridesburg because you got your house in Jersey.
Yeah.
And you were cutting out of the upstairs here,
I was.
right?
Yep.
Before, because this wasn't ready yet.
This wasn't ready. Yeah, we were working on my 2021.
So I remember the first appointment I had.
Let me tell you, man,
post
2021.
First appointment post Bridesburg. I came to your house. Thankfully, the door was locked, so I opened it and tried to go into the door.
Holy shit!
And you told me I had to come here.
I had forgotten to tell you that I was cutting here for a month.
Yeah.
Upstairs while this place downstairs got.
Yeah. So it shows. It also shows like how pivotal you are, like, and like versatile. You can like move around and do things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was your mailman. You were afraid
I knew.
you thought he was gonna walk in on us, but that's funny that he actually tried to. But that shows you how versatile you are. You're ready to pivot and like make something work.
I think there's just like this, you know, books that I've read, you know, this burning desire within me that it's just like nothing's gonna stop me. I might get to a hurdle. I might have to think my way around it. I might, you know, whatever, get mad and like, oh, I can't believe that happened, you know, but nothing's ever gonna fucking stop me. I'm determined to make some shit work, especially if I feel it's gonna be the best thing for myself, the business, the family, the people around me. Like if it's ultimately going to make us better, then I will come up with a way of making things work, you know?
Right.
But yeah, 2021, 4 years renting the house in Bridesburg. Very fortunate, man. We saved up enough money to buy our house in New Jersey and enough money to start this business here. And it was a work and go thing. Like I had saved up some money, but as 2021 kept going on, it was like, okay, cool. We got our house, down payment, some furniture, then some money left aside for the business. It's got to be for that. I really tried doing it without borrowing any money at all. You know? And although I had, you know, I did have to borrow a couple dollars. I put some things on credit cards. You know, it took 18 months to pay all those things off, but 18 months to me is relatively fast. After investing with my accountant, I know it was $77,000 just for the barbershop.
Holy shit.
Yeah, $77,000 to get this place up and running from.
Wow.
Not lease money, just equipment, the renovations.
And the renovations were wild,
bro. This place is.
Do you have a before and after picture?
We do. Yeah. Well, I'll share it with you.
I would love to see that.
This place was an old laundromat.
Yeah.
And, you know, combined efforts between, you know, owner of the building, contractor who did the work, and myself, all of us putting our heads together, we changed this place up. I've had neighbors come in here, neighbors that have been around this neighborhood for, you know, 20, 30 years, and they're like, we're so thankful that you're here because this place was such an eyesore. It was a laundromat not in operation for 10 plus years.
Wow.
And you walked in here, and I will say that even the first place that I rented, my first location, it was a feeling that I got. When I first walked in there, I took 2 steps into the Mayfair location. I remember walking in the door, took one glance left and right, and I was like, I knew right away this was it. I got that same feeling when I stepped in here. This place, I walked in, the owner showed me, you know, they walked me in through the back because the front door was like boarded up, gated up, like you couldn't even get through it. So they walked me in through the back, and I remember standing at the back looking at all of this, and there was washers and dryers to my left. Like the ceiling was falling apart, wires hanging down, you know, dusty, just, you know.
Yeah,
bad. And I remember getting that feeling of like, oh no, this is it. And I almost immediately painted the picture of what this place was going to look like. I can't tell you that, like.
I remember how excited you were when you showed me. You're like, yeah, this is going to go here. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You were like just so excited about everything.
I was, dude, once all the laundry equipment was out of the room, I came in here with the contractor and I painted where these stations were going to go and how the flow of the shop was going to be. Because you're working with a rectangular space. You're working with about 1,100 square feet. So you have to paint a picture, before it actually gets done, so that you're not losing yourself later. So yeah, we added a third window, we added a break room. It was around right after COVID time, so I was like, look, I want the stations to be close, but not too close. I want everyone to have their elbow room. So if you're having a private conversation with your client, it's private. But if it's an open discussion that we're having, everyone can kind of see each other and hear each other without being on top. I know I could have added 2 or 3 more stations to this place, but it wasn't about that for me. It was more of the right people working in a space, creating a dope experience for the people coming in. And that's really what it was. So we painted where the chairs were going to be, where the shampoo stations were going to be, the bathroom, the break room, all before walls and plumbing and electric went on. We painted the picture, and it's what you see here today.
Wild, dude.
So
the transformation of this place.
Oh, big time, man.
I remember I never saw it with the washer and dryers, and I saw it probably remotely close to after that, because I remember the ceiling was still being
like
fixed. Yeah. So it's just amazing to see the transformation. One, because I was like, abysmal. I was like, I don't know, man.
Oh, so many people had doubt, man.
I was
so
like, ooh.
And that's what I mean. Like, so many people, like, they but it's okay that you couldn't see it, but as long as I saw it, then I was like, all right,
I thought in the back of my head, I was like, oof, I don't know, but if anybody's going to pull it off, it's probably going to be Lou.
Yeah, man. And
you've been able to pivot so many times. Like, the after Blades experience, I think you can survive anything. I mean, because that was
being sued at 20 years old is crazy.
Right.
I think the guy who sued me at the time, he was 42, and I'm 38 right now, and I could not.
Is he still cutting hair?
I think so. I mean, I'm pretty much shitting on him right now, but
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I'm being a little arrogance in me, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? And still fuck you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not only did he didn't only get us kicked out of working at that location, he took us back to court and demanded money for pain and suffering that he dealt with. And Adam and I each had to give him $1,500. Adam went the route, which I still think is funny as shit. He's like, okay, cool, $10 a month, so I'm done. I just said, here's $1,500. I'm just fucking done with you. I wanted him out of my fucking life.
$10 a month?
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Dude, it's hysterical. Yeah.
I would have loved that. You should have did the same thing and made that dude wait.
Oh man, I know, right? And
how broke and an asshole do you have to be to sue 2 20-year-old kids that were hungry just like you at one fucking point?
We said that to him.
Well, so that's the problem. This is what not that you said it to him. Here's the problem. He saw 2 guys that are super talented that can over business him and overwork him and be better. Yeah. And I feel like that happens in my world too. You know what I mean? DJing world. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? People are threatened when you're better than them. And I think that's what it was. That wasn't about, all these things. So, he was like, I got to put a contract on these guys because I know they're going to take business from me. And Turney wasn't wrong.
Yeah, no, listen,
but that just shows you his character. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So it's not even worth, it's not worth anything anymore. It doesn't matter because you needed that lesson in life.
Very much.
To get you to where you are now.
Yeah. And trust me, it's, I'm 38. I look at a 20-year-old now and I'm like, I could never, like the kid doesn't know any, you know what I mean? Like these kids, it's not to say that they're not intelligent people or anything like that. It's just, I could never do something like that, right?
Yeah.
But it's not to say that I don't understand where he was coming from. I wholeheartedly understand, non-competes. Like I have to, realistically, I'm not making anyone sign a non-compete, right? But that means they could leave and open up a barbershop within a block of me and, you know what I mean? So, and start their own thing, and I couldn't really say or do anything. But I truly believe in, wanting more for like taking care of the people that take care of you, right? So it's not that I don't encourage them to go open up their own place. I would just hope out of mutual respect they didn't do it next door to me,
Right, yeah.
Because I couldn't put a non-compete. I couldn't hold someone back from being their full potential self.
Yeah, because look at you. You're living your dream. So
who am I to stop someone from living their dream? The only thing I would ask of them is, yes, geographically, if you could place it right, you know what I mean? Like let's not start that fight. But be honest be truthful. Like,
Right.
you know, just talk to me. Like, if you have plans of doing your own thing, like, how could I possibly stop you? Who am I to stop you when I also did the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So the thing that I would encourage is be transparent, be honest. Like, hey, Lou, I have these plans. You know, we had Tyler working here, right? And Tyler's fucking amazing dude, amazing kid. I you know, still love him, right? He was my very first employee here. He could only be part-time. He had his own thing going with his own business. He spent about 1.5 years working with us and sat me down one day and he was like, Lou, you know, I want to talk to you. Like, I plan on moving on. I'm going to go to a studio and do my own thing, but it's going to allow me more time to concentrate on the other side of my business. And I'm like, cool, man. Like, when do I have you till? Like, and he's like, if it's cool with you, like 4 weeks. And I'm like, bro, that's great. Like, let me, you know, what can I do to help you get to the next thing? You know, but it was his honesty that I appreciated, because if I'm going to worry about anyone leaving and blossoming, like, that's more of my own problem. That's showing that I'm not as confident in myself as I should be, right? The way I see it is, you know, help everyone move forward, even if it means that they're going to open up their own location. You know, like that. I look at it like maybe the next kid who's in school right now may want to go work for Lou because he'll be like, wow, Eric worked for Lou for 3 years and he went and opened up his own barbershop. Tyler was there for 1.5 years working part-time and he did his own studio. And like their future success, I feel, you know, will help the next crowd of people want to sit with me, learn from me. You know what I mean? And like, I don't mind teaching. So as long as the person is coachable, teachable, like, listen, like,
if you're willing to learn, I'm willing to give you the time.
If you're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach.
You don't have a lot of time. So your time is money.
Yeah.
So if your time is very valuable. So it's like,
man. And like, I'm just not, you know, I'm not here to hold people back. And I totally understand the non-compete thing. At least in this industry, I know many fields use them for
my first DJ thing had one of those.
Yeah, I listen. I get it.
Yeah.
But for the sake of holding people back, I couldn't do it, and that's why I tell people, if you have ideas, plans, questions of why just talk to me. Let's keep it all honest and open, because we're all better people when we're open and honest. Right. Like, we can get through little hurdles. We can get through, you know, conflicts if we're open and honest, as opposed to, you know, shut down and keeping things hush hush, you know?
Right.
It breaks up friendships. It breaks up relationships when, instead of, you know, keeping that person within your network, and, you know, Tyler and I still communicate. We still wish each other well. We still support each other, you know, just by talking good about one another. Like, there doesn't have to be that, you know, like, him failing would never make me happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't do anything for me. If anything, it's like, no, homie, before you fail, let's try this. Let's communicate with that person. Let's talk to him. Let's see what we can do to get you. You know what I mean? But there ain't no fucking quitting. Hell no.
No, that's one thing that, you know, if I can compare that to, is like with this podcast. I was like, when I first started it, you know what I mean? I was like, I really like doing this. You know what I mean? Like, Eddie was my first episode, and he was like, he's like, man, you're here. You did it. You're going to do it. And, you know, everyone just kept giving me great feedback and like, yo, try doing this. Maybe if they help you a little bit to do this with the social media.
Was that about a year ago?
Almost. Yeah.
That was at the bar, right?
What?
Your Eddie's.
No, Eddie was at my house, but he co-hosted an episode at the Wolf. That was my 10th episode.
Was it?
That was my 10th episode. I did a live episode.
That's the one I'm remembering.
Yeah, it was like a 2-parter that I had. I did 2 episodes in one day just because I felt bad making people come out for an hour. So it's like I made like a 2-hour thing, and then your episode. Let's see, 38, 9, 4. Hold on, 38, and then season 2 so it was 39, 40, 41, 42. Your 43rd episode. So I'm almost to 50. Yeah, my goal for this year, last year I made it to 38. My goal this year is 45, and I'm probably gonna go over that, because I can't say anything yet, but there's some big news coming with Talkin with Tonka, and
I love that for you, man.
It's gonna push me even harder to work even harder, and I'm a little nervous, but I can't wait to let you guys in on it. Actually, when this episode airs, it'll probably be able to announce like the week after. So like I'm
so
holding
cool,
it back.
man.
Like, you're one of the very select few that know. I only told 5 people because I was like, I didn't want to jinx myself. But
Dude,
it's gonna definitely push me
going, man.
to break over that 45 barrier. And like, so this part of the podcast, you were wondering how long things go. We're an hour and 41 minutes in.
That's awesome.
This is a little late in the episode to me to ask this, but we had a lot of impactful things that I wanted to make sure.
Oh man,
my
whatever we don't get to today, I hope we come back to.
Yeah. So my consumption rate is usually 60%. So people are probably still tuned in. So in 5 years, where do you see LB Cuts? And then I'll ask you, where do you see Louis Bravo?
Okay. LB Cuts.
I'll make sure this camera's on. It's on.
Right.
These are usually the clips. These are usually the tear jerkers.
So
or the impactful stuff.
No, it's just, keeping the needle moving, man. Honestly, I do see myself having multiple locations. Being that I live in South Jersey, I want to open up a location over there. And hopefully that being with people who I work with now, I would never force it on them, but hopefully they get to a point of wanting more growth themselves and involving them in the leadership and managerial roles of running and operating a barbershop, to the point of maybe being partners with them at first. And after a few years, if you figured it out or you want to operate in your own way, like, you just, we'll figure things out and then split ways. Right. But I truly think that, LB Cuts will be, even more known in the Philadelphia area. I like to think that we operate with integrity, sincerity, and, creating a win-win-win situation. And what I mean by that is creating a win for the clients who come in because they get the proper service and attention that they want here. Creating a win for the people who operate behind the chairs because, again, you're providing them a lifestyle, a way of making a living, and it's a really decent living by doing something that's, it could be fun. You know what I mean? Like, we're making people look good. We're making people smile, and they give us money for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's, it's not a dreadful thing to do. As long as you like doing it, it's a cool thing to do for a living. And then as the shop itself, it's a win for the shop because the shop, not only business and profits, but the shop, because of the person that I am, the shop will reflect who I am. So we're going to be doing, and we already have done, charitable events, ways of giving back to your community, ways of being examples for your youth in your community. So, just in December, we did a give back working with the local high school for kids who were, of course, deserving of the day, but we gave a dozen students, 12 kids, of course, free haircuts, but we had food, we had beverages here for them. We worked with our apparel company, East Philly Design, to give them shirts. We collectively, as clients and barbers, we collected money for each student to walk out with a Target gift card. So, and that was for the holiday season. So, it was, what I didn't want was a hand in choosing the kids. I just I worked with the school, and between the principal and the counselors, you guys decide who's deserving of this. You know what I mean? Whether it's financial hardship, whether it's deserving academically, it's about giving back to the community, right? So that's what I mean by a win-win-win situation is, you're creating a cool environment for people to come in and pay for a service, and they're getting the attention. You're creating a cool environment for someone to come in and work here and make good money while providing a happy experience for someone. So that should make them feel good, And then the shop helps the community by doing give backs, I already talked to the principal about doing a back to school event, and that's just what we have planned for now. You know what I mean? Like it could be a win-win-win situation, but of course, there's rules, there's regulations, there's standards that we all have to follow. So, that's just kind of what I see LB growing. But, little things are, I would love our own product line. You know what I mean? Getting to know clients and exactly what they want.
You already know what kind of hair stuff I want.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I really feel like we're going to grow into our own product line. I would love to add color to our services. And with future shops, it's again, creating a system that allows me to, not only cut hair there, but again, lead people into this win-win-win situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I really believe in that culture.
Right.
Of scenarios where all parties win. You know what I mean? And of course, if there's an upset client, if there's an upset, barber, like, guys, let's talk, let's communicate. Let's talk it out. Let's get through it. You know what I mean? Like, there's not,
So, Louis Bravo, what's his 5-year plan?
My 5-year
outside
plan,
of the business.
Outside of the business is giving my kids as much time as I can. I like to think that I'm doing a good job of it now. But as they get older, I see other people with kids that are older than mine right now. And, there's a lot of activities for kids now, and I have 3 of them. So I plan on sports being a thing after school, activities on the weekends, I want to be there. I want to be a part of that. I take in wholeheartedly the aspect of, money isn't everything.
Yeah.
Time is worth more sometimes.
Always.
Time is worth more. So, as much as I need this job to provide for my family financially, the memories that they grow up with of dad being there instead of not being there, that's what sits heavy with me. So, with, 5 years from now, my baby's going to be 5 years old. Mateo will be 7. Ollie will be 10. And they're probably all going to be involved in something or something. Another. Yeah. So,
it'll probably give you and Amanda a lot more time.
Man. Like, I've seen it, and this is the, from rehab and the structure of taking suggestion. When I think, to answer your questions, what I did was I took suggestions from people that were older than me, people that have already been through the things that I've been through. And what they tell me is this, like, Lou, it's cool to make money, but your time's worth more. So even if you can't provide that toy at the store, but you were able to, like, go to the park with them, it might be more valuable than buying that toy.
Seeing that video of you and Ollie sledding.
Oh, bro.
Dude, I watched it like 5 times. I was smiling ear to ear. It was so funny.
I probably watched it 100 times.
Yeah, you don't even need to see. You don't see Louis at all throughout the whole video. All you see is Ollie, like belly laughing so loud and looking back at you. And he's like, Daddy.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's like, all right, let's do it again. And you're like, oh, I got to climb up this fucking head. That's what I felt you were about to say.
We went sledding, and we were there for about an hour and a half, but it was a good 40 runs that we did, man.
Oh, I bet.
But that's what I mean, man, is like that, that time, that attention. I hope that that's a memory for him that he will forever
always
remember. I mean,
yeah.
It's at least going to be one for me. You know what I mean? And that's something that had nothing to do with money. Mm-hmm. That was just a hill around the corner from our house. We both had the time, and I went and did that with him. You know what I mean? And I was like, and now with Philadelphia barely getting snow as it is, I was like, that meant a lot to me. You know
yeah.
So it's those things that I feel like, for me, of course, being a good dad, yes, with Amanda, spending more time with her. And, personally, trying to figure out our plans for the future. You know what I mean? Like, I love being a barber. I love that this is how we provide our living. But I think, figuring out different ways of income, not just to drive a nice car and have a nice house. It's not for that. It's more to, like, the more you learn as an adult, the more we can teach our next generation. And if I can teach my next generation, not only my kids, but even people that are younger than me, I give them, I want to be able to give them my knowledge in, how to earn money, how to save money, how to use money, how to have money work for you. Because, for me, it's important to provide a living, but with time being so important too, sometimes worth more than the money. It's like, man,
that's where I'm having a problem.
Oof, how can I get that happy medium? But mainly, hey, fuck it. Even if I have to do more of the work lifestyle for my life, but then I've taught Oliver to, yes, do something you're passionate like, work in what you like to do, but let me show you how to prepare your own retirement, prepare your own, so that you get to, living easier. It's not to say I want to quit work and get to a point where I have 10 barbershops and I don't think I'm ever going to stop working, to be honest with you.
I hope not.
I will always work,
Yeah.
but how nice would it be to just get to a point where, hey, we're working because we want to,
Right.
instead of because we have to. The energy that I have for my everyday work, whether it's cutting hair or managing the shop or consulting for someone, I'm going to do that with way more emphasis on the goal, the task at hand, than just needing money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The attention I give that is going to be different than
Right.
as if I'm just doing it for the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all of this is to just show the next generation. And again, people even younger than me, I say it to the 23-year-olds that sit with me now. It's like, hey man, what are you doing with your credit? What are you doing with, when are you going to buy a house? Like, what are your moves for the future? Like, even if it's learning how to save, like, do something to help yourself, because I want to see them in a better position at 38 than I am in now.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's just people. I just want to see everyone do well. You know what I mean? And although you're not going to get to every soul, you're not going to get to everyone. If you can try to make a positive impact on yourself, on the people around you, on the community around you, I hope that turns, those 20-something-year-olds right now into positive leaders that are going to be leading my kids. You know what I mean? Those are going to be the bosses, you know what I mean? The people that are leading my children into things. So it's just a matter of that. Like, these charitable events that I'm talking about, the payback isn't them coming back in to see me here. The payback is, hey man, I hope that you one day are in the position to pay it forward.
Help, yeah.
Pay your community, you know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be that you give money. It could be that, hey man, like those clothes don't fit you no more. They're still in good. Like, give it away to somebody that could use it. If it means volunteering at the local, church for, the homeless to come in and get some food, like, volunteer some time. Like, it doesn't have to be money all the time. It could be anything. And mainly wishing it well. Like, even if you can't donate to a charity, even if you can't donate time because you have to work, like, at least spread the positive word that, hey, look, this local barbershop's doing this. I think that's really nice. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the church is giving back to the homeless community. Like, that's really cool. You know what I mean? Like, just talk good about it. And, I feel like that comes back to you. You know what I mean? I'm not doing it for that, but I feel like, and you live freer that way. You're more at peace when you don't have animosity towards anyone. You know what I mean? When you're not holding a grudge towards anyone. Like, that shit takes up a lot of energy.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I mean?
Hate takes up a lot of energy.
Hate takes up a lot of energy instead of just loving somebody. And
I'm just gonna hit that real quick. That's a perfect thing to say right there. It's like, takes up so much time and energy, man, for nothing.
Bro, the example that I give is like when we're, you're walking past someone in the street. It takes more energy to give that person a dirty look than just to go, hey, how you doing?
Yep.
And if they say anything back or not, no big deal. But if you give someone it's like so much.
Yeah, for nothing.
For nothing. You get literally nothing out of that.
No, that's wild.
So
this is a question I always ask someone that grew up speaking 2 languages. Do you have a bilingual house now?
I try my best.
Because I know your house, it was Spanish only.
Spanish only with my mom, yeah. Still is.
Yeah. So, like, I would assume it would have to teach him at some point because your mom is primarily Spanish speaking.
Yeah. Yeah. And thankfully, she understands more than she speaks these days. Because, of course, with Amanda being primarily English, speaking, it's our house, there is way more English than Spanish. But I'm doing the best that I can by implementing, the at least for now, the fundamental words, to have my kids know something. So my idea behind that is, yes, I plan on teaching them how to speak Spanish. But the more I teach them now at a youthful age, and what I love now about schools is that they're implementing a second language at a much younger age than you and I experienced.
Oh, really?
We experienced the second language, at least for me. The second language wasn't implemented as a class until 9th grade.
Oh, I want to say I had 7th.
7th?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I love hearing that it was younger.
8th, yeah.
That's cool because the younger you are, the easier it is to learn these things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so what I hope is that my kids will... Yes, they're going to take Spanish as a second language, but I hope that they have at least a head start where like, oh yeah, my dad, I know these words. I know what this means. He's said that to me, you know.
And I feel like,
and of course, coming back to me
Yeah.
and doing the homework with me, and
I feel like Oliver was pretty good.
yeah,
Like,
he does really. He's really good at understanding what I'm saying. I can say almost anything to him in Spanish, and he'll respond to me in English. But that means I know that he understands what I'm asking him. He understands what I'm saying to him. So I'm like, all right, cool. If it's at least, you know what I mean? It's his ears hearing the language and understanding it, and he might, you know, translate it to English and respond to me in English. But he's understanding it. You know,
is it important for you, for your kids, to grow up with the same culture that your mom gave you and your parents gave you?
Yeah. I think a combination of both. Amanda's culture, the way she grew up, and mine, the way I grew up. It's important because, of course, you know, taking the positive out of both of our cultures, you know?
Right.
But, you know, yeah, I love, you know, how polite my mom is, how kind she taught us to be, because that's something that you know, being polite in this world, sadly, you don't see it so much, you know, but what does it cost anyone to be polite? By me, and I'm talking about say please, say thank you, you're welcome, words of like, you know, these are simple things. They cost you nothing, but they get you way further in life. You know what I mean? You know, I'm that OG barber that does it to the kids now. You know, sometimes in the summertime, kids will come in and like, oh, Lou, can I get a bag of chips? And I'm like, no matter their age, I'm like, what's the magic word, bro? Like if you know what I mean? If you say please, I'm going to say yes anyway, but I'm going to teach you to say please because it just gets you further in life. You know what I mean? I'm going to teach you to say thank you because it gets you so much further in life, you know?
Right.
And that's something in our culture that, you know, my mom distilled in us is like, make sure you're kind to people. Make sure, you know what I mean? Like, it costs you nothing.
Yep.
An extra breath. It costs you nothing but an extra breath, but it gets you so much further in life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Your mom's a very nice lady.
Yeah, she is, man.
She couldn't communicate with me a lot, but she was always nice to me and always offered me food, and I hate rice. So, since we're both still rolling, that's good. I want you to look into this camera because I always like to offer the small business an extra clip that you can post at your own time. So like something useful for your social media, right? So I want you to look into that camera and kind of tell like a younger barber that's maybe just come out of school and they're nervous to just do it, or you know what I mean, any positive reinforcement you can give to them.
Yeah, absolutely. So to any younger or newer people to this industry, I encourage you to ask questions. Don't be afraid to not know the answer to something. Like how we all learn is by becoming vulnerable, asking questions, saying I don't know, and just know that when you're reaching out for help, not everyone's going to be willing to help, but that shouldn't discourage you from asking someone else. Like, you know, unfortunately in the world that we're in, you're probably going to get the door shut on you more than opened, but keep trying, like keep going. Don't let anything stop you from achieving your goals. And, you know, it could be from learning how to do a certain haircut to learning how to acquire and retain clientele. Either way, ask questions, you know, and since we're on this, I'm here. Like I tell people I'm here to help for as much as I can help. Mm-hmm. So I might not get back to you within 5 minutes, but at some point in time within that day or two, I will get back to you. I like to think that I'm really good at responding to people. You know, it's trying to provide now for the people new to this industry or just younger and leaving high school and getting into this industry. I want to be there where no one was there for me. You know, I want to be that positive reinforcement that wasn't given to me. You guys heard my story. Sued at 20 years old. That could deter someone from being in this industry. You know, going through, you know, the party lifestyle and drug addiction and all that could deter you from being in this industry. But the whole point is to keep going, keep putting your best foot forward, you know, hold yourself accountable and be coachable, be teachable. The biggest thing with young people today is that, you know, it seems like you can't tell them anything because they, you know, think that they already know. And it's like, you know, I'm not saying that you guys can't come and innovate something that we've already been doing, but please be coachable, retain the information, try it. And if for whatever reason it doesn't work, then exit it out of your system. But for at least the beginning portion of your career, hone in on all this information, keep what works for you and throw away what doesn't. But that's my biggest thing with someone new to this industry is, again, I'm here. There's so many people out there that are willing to help. But yeah.
Bet. That's a perfect place to end it. I appreciate you so much for sitting down with me.
I appreciate you, man.
I
I was looking forward to this for so long, man. I'm so proud of you for doing this, man.
Thank you.
This is you doing this is another version of inspiration for me because, again, this wasn't you telling your story, but I've seen you grow, Eric, and I wish you 30, 40 more years of even more success. And I truly believe, from reading the book The Alchemist, I think this is our story, and I think this is, we're going to be able to, connect the dots as time goes on. But in the meantime, man, no matter the struggles, no matter the hurdles, just know that you're doing it right, man. Because it's all
appreciate it, man.
It really is going to be that this culminates to something.
Yeah,
really
I'm hoping, man.
It is, man.
I really hope so.
Let's enjoy the journey because we're living the dream right now.
It's a wild ride we're living.
Yeah, and we're making it, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you sitting down with me today. I know your time is valuable, and Amanda's probably blowing your phone up. So, Amanda, I'm sorry that I stalled for 2 hours.
We love her.
Yeah, she's great. I can't wait to.
All right, thank you so much. Everybody listening, thank you so much, man. It's just my story. Please reach out if you have any questions, anything at all. I'm here for it. But
I appreciate it, man. This has been episode 5 of season 2 with
humbled.
Louis Bravo. Yeah, I'm full government, Luis, not make sure you spell it right. He has a tattooed on his leg if you need to make sure you got the spelling right.
Oh, man, that is really true.
Yeah, I do. Come on, man.
Oh, shit.
We are on location today, LB Cuts. All the links to the... Actually, you want to shout out your barbershop's Instagram real quick?
Yeah, our shop's Instagram is at lbcuts.phl, and my personal is Lou Bravo Hair. So, yeah, get on there, follow us, check it out. And, again, I'm here if you guys have any questions at all. Thank you so much for listening. This has been a humble experience for me. I'm super grateful for it all, man.
Yeah, man, I'm thank you for being here. This episode will air Thursday, 8 p.m., and all the other collateral will come out a couple days after. So thank you guys for tuning in as always. It's been Talkin with Tonka, Season 2, Episode 5 with Louis Bravo. Thank you all so much. Y'all have a good night. Peace.